Sometimes the biggest statements are the shortest. Just 4 words scribbled on a camera lens. But this wasn't just a celebration. Not really. This was a quiet, confident declaration that a new king hadn't just shown up. He had now conquered every single corner of the tennis world.
So let's really break this down. What was on the line that night? This 22-year-old wasn't just playing against Novak Djokovic, he was literally playing against history itself. Winning this single tournament meant doing something that only a tiny, elite group of players have ever managed to do. Okay, first things first, we need to wrap our heads around just how huge this achievement actually was. This wasn't just another trophy for the case. No, this was the one that punched his ticket into the pantheon of tennis gods. And the craziest part, he did it faster than any man in history.
So, what is a career Grand Slam? Well, think of it like this. It is the Mount Everest of tennis. To win on the hard courts in Melbourne and New York, then switch to the tricky red clay of Paris, and then adapt again to the super fast grass of London, it takes a level of mastery that most players can only dream of. It is what separates the true legends from everyone else.
And Alcaraz did it at just 22. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. 22 years old. He became the youngest man ever to pull this off, smashing the old record. And whose record was it? None other than his own idol and fellow countryman, the one and only Rafael Nadal.
But here's where the story gets really, really interesting. Because it's not just about Alcaraz's victory, right? It's also about the legend whose record he just broke. The whole dynamic between Alcaraz and his hero, Rafa, just adds this incredible layer to the whole thing.
Even before the final match even started, Nadal basically set the stage for everyone. He came out and made it perfectly clear that seeing his record fall wasn't going to be some big drama. For him, it was a victory for the sport he loves. He wasn't just watching, he was acting like a proud mentor, giving his blessing to his successor. And this is the moment. This is what it all comes down to. After the match, when they were away from the lights and the cameras, Nadal found Alcaraz. That private embrace and those words. Wow. That wasn't just a congratulations. That was the symbolic passing of a torch from one Spanish titan to the next.
And it wasn't just Nadal, The other 2 giants of the big 3, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic, they had to weigh in too. Both of them knew they had just witnessed something truly special.
And what's so fascinating here is seeing how they both reacted. You have Federer, always the statesman, thinking about the bigger picture, talking about what an unbelievable, special moment this is for the game itself. And then you have Djokovic, the very guy Alcaraz had just beaten, showing just incredible class. He basically admitted, yeah, this kid has the whole package. That's the ultimate sign of respect.
Okay, but it wasn't all just praise and high fives. Up in the commentary booth, some of the sharpest minds in tennis, well, they had a slightly different take. A bit of tough love, if you will. Tennis legend John McEnroe, who is never going to hold back. He basically pointed out that, hey, the path to this historic win, it wasn't perfect. He felt like Alcaraz got a bit fortunate in those early sets, and that, yeah, even when you're making history, there's always room to get better.
And Tim Henman kind of echoed that, but from a different angle. He was talking about Alcaraz's love for the spectacular shot. And this gets at a really important strategic point. Because while those highlight reel shots are amazing to watch, they can burn a ton of unnecessary energy. At this elite level, efficiency is king. It's what lets you survive those brutal 5-set matches. And maybe more importantly, it's what keeps your body going over a long, tough career. So, after hearing from the legends, the rivals, and the critics, it all brings us right back to where we started, with the champion's own words. Because really, the most powerful summary of the night came from Alcaraz himself.
With those 4 words, job finished, 4-4 complete, he basically ended the debate right there. He acknowledged how hard the challenge was, he declared that he'd met it, and he announced his total conquest of the sport's 4 biggest prizes. It was a complete mic drop moment on a global stage. So, when you really think about it, what we saw in Melbourne wasn't an ending. No way. It was the explosive beginning of something new. By conquering the entire tennis world at just 22 years old, Carlos Alcaraz hasn't just joined the conversation about the all-time greats. He is now at the very center of it. The question is no longer if he'll be a legend. The question now is, could he become the greatest we've ever seen?